Hi everyone, I'm Associate Professor Ian MacArthur. I work at UNSW in Sydney, and today I'm representing myself and my colleague and collaborator, the architect Matthew Priestman of Priestman Architects in the United Kingdom. But before I begin, I want to acknowledge the Bidjigal and Gadigal people of the Eora Nation as the traditional custodians of the land on which my work takes place. I pay my respects to elders past and present and extend this respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. I acknowledge that this land has long been a place of teaching, learning and creating, but that sovereignty over this land was never ceded. Our work and the presentation today focuses on the key concepts, our speculative methods, and thematic analysis of case studies related to a speculative design study in the form of conversations we've been engaged in during 2024. What we want to present represents a speculative design narrative, inquiring into philosophical questions surrounding urbanism and our understanding of city during this time of deepening planetary scale socio-ecological crisis. Our methodology draws on comparisons highlighting the differences between mechanistic Western and holistic Chinese approaches to medicine, while deploying a speculative mode of social dreaming and utilisation of AI-assisted co-creation tactics. And within this experimental framework, we retroactively analyse case studies on urban interaction and precinct design in Chongqing. Our rhizomic approach to this work offers multiple pathways for exploring urban futures, contributing to the discourse on reimagining cities by synthesizing ancient wisdom and cutting-edge technology. To expand on this further, we propose commingling two key concepts. Firstly, the city as garden, and this is an idea deeply rooted in Chinese cultural ethos. And secondly, the emancipatory potential of third nature, the growing symbiotic relationship between humanity, nature, and advanced technologies, including artificial intelligence. We employ a speculative mode of social dreaming, drawing on Dunn and Raby and Lawrence, to envisage future urban possibilities, while utilizing co-creation tactics with AI tools to generate and interpret text and images, with the aim to align our urban concepts with Chinese philosophies of human-nature relations and emerging theories of the healthy city. By reframing the city as garden, we do not mean simply gardens in cities. We mean it to be also an expanded, abstract notion of networks of garden combining 1. Chinese ideas, medicinal, human nature, correlations, and philosophies of being. 2. The non-human constituents of such communities. And 3. Advanced technologies including oncoming bespoke AI as a potentially benign, collaborative participant partner. Central to our thesis are questions of whether the Chinese understanding of the healthy body as a garden can be extrapolated to the scale of the city and used as a metaphor for dreaming future urban cosmologies. The antonym of this notion is the modern Western perception of the body as a machine engaged in the fight against the enemy of disease. In this view, the healthy corpus is free of disease and functions in an essentially normalized state, free of symptoms, and able to perform at a high capacity. But within the holistic view of the body as ecosystem, the goal is self-regulation, the cultivation of a global sense of health, integrity, adaptability, and continuity. Can aligning principles of Western medicine's analytical, evidence-based scientific methods, the technological machine, with a much greater consideration and application of the healing arts-based approach that we see present in Chinese medicine, can this help us holistically reimagine our cities in the face of unrelenting, man-made ecological disasters, technological dystopianism, social malaise, political and cultural turmoil, and global conflict? As noted by Anab Jain in 2023, before we can address the planetary emergencies we face, we must view ourselves as not separate from nature, but deeply entangled in it. Morocco's Royal Institute of Strategic Studies defines third nature as a philosophical and environmental framework that rethinks the orthodox division between nature, first nature, and culture, second nature. This implies a modality where human and natural systems coexist in a web of harmonious relationships. In this framework, first nature refers to the untouched wilderness. Second nature denotes environments shaped by human activities, such as cities, infrastructure, farmland. But third nature introduces the idea of a harmonious, symbiotic interaction between natural systems and human creations, integrating elements of sustainability, adaptive technologies, including AI, and ecological innovation. Alexandro Arrighi argues that when seen as a constituent of the city, AI broadens the scope and role of city strategists, urban planners, and other stakeholders to encompass what he describes as the novel realm of digital augmentation. How then can designers, developers, researchers, planners, and politicians holistically integrate urban AI as a part of contemporary and future cities? It's become popular amongst architects and urban planners in Western context to cite the artist Brian Eno's assertion to think like a gardener, not an architect. Eno observed, rather than finishing a work of art, which is what we normally think of, we thought the job of an artist was to start one. This gave rise to an analogy from architecture to gardening. What I liked was the idea of making something that would grow into something, like a gardener. A gardener doesn't simply specify a garden, they put in some seeds and they hope. In a sense, the gardener loses control of the creation. They start something off, step back from it, and watch it happen. As posited by Anthony Dunn and Fiona Raby in their book Speculative Everything, Design Fiction and Social Dreaming from 2013, design can be used as a tool for imagining new design narratives that enable us to think critically about new and hitherto unimagined speculative proposals to challenge narrow assumptions, preconceptions, and givens about the role of design in everyday life. The title of Dunn and Raby's book alludes to a mode of design that encompasses speculative visioning of future scenarios and design fictions as methods to probe, explore, and critique these possible futures and the technologies they embrace. This diagram presents our conceptual framework. It integrates the traditional Chinese city as garden philosophy with the emerging potential of AI as a hypothetical vision for future urban development. It outlines 4 interconnected spheres: ecological, productive, pleasurable, and philosophical, that form a progressive, mutually supporting circularity. The philosophic dimension of the model draws inspiration from Chinese shan shui and garden traditions and emphasizes a harmonious relationship between humans and nature. Simultaneously, it incorporates the third nature concept where bespoke urban AI play a crucial supporting role in augmenting and enhancing urban systems. We envisage the AI component as operating in an emancipatory circularity. Creative hybridization of ideas, process optimization, and automated intelligence. This framework also advances the commingling of rural and urban elements, proposing an enriched, intelligent, optimal urban environment that balances traditional wisdom with the cutting-edge technologies that are increasingly available. Arguably controversially, but congruent with the use of speculative design narrative, our research methodology adopted an approach to urban AI that positions it as a non-anthropomorphic co-creator. While cognizant of the concerns proliferating across design and other disciplines, our methodology situates AI as a contentious, inexorable, prosthetic co-creator augmenting conventional roles in design processes and expanding the horizon of possibility in the emergent more than human context of design. We developed two strategies, Strategy A and Strategy B. Strategy A was used for a range of processes related to text-based aspects of the speculative narrative and thematic analysis of our selected Chongqing case studies. Strategy A was developed as a critical and curatorial mode of prompt engineering based in iterative, discursive, critical, and analytical exchanges using large language models. Specifically, we experimented using ChatGPT, Claude, and Microsoft Copilot. This encompassed testing how non-human AI agents might provide a prosthetic analytical capacity and perspective parallel to traditional modes of criticality in designerly writing and representation by augmenting, structuring, visualizing, ordering, tabulating, and analyzing links between the complex conceptual relations and relationships in this experimental project. This was followed by critically analyzing and modifying by writing over the responses to accurately reflect our own human experience and understanding of the content and co-creation process, and to account for any hallucinations generated. The table visualized in this slide lists and describes how we collaborated with these AI in the development of the speculative design narrative and project analysis. The table was formulated by prompting the relevant AI, Claude in this case, to identify and describe tasks it carried out in the discursive collaborative process. A second strategy, Strategy B, was developed to support iterative prototyping and visualization, reflecting the key concepts in the design narrative. Strategy B involved producing a large range of visualizations developed and applied as models in the diffusion-based text-to-image tools Adobe Firefly, Microsoft Copilot, and the Chinese architectural AI LookX. We came to understand this as a curatorial process of breeding or cultivating outputs by using consistent prompts reflecting the speculative narrative, self-generated reference images, developing training models, and engaging in sequential design iteration over the multiple platforms. As a visual research method, the process of cultivation of visualizations resonates strongly with the city as garden thematic inherent in our narrative. Arturo Escobar in 2018 questioned if current design can escape from its complicity in outdated and unsustainable modernist and defuturing practices. And he argued that if this could happen, perhaps we might move towards realizing the pluriverse, a world where many worlds fit. We contend that pluriversality extends to the emergent urban AI and how we might work with it to reimagine and visualize the city as garden. During our practice, research and education projects in Chongqing in the years preceding COVID-19, we found the city to be a pliant space open to design experimentation. The city's unique symbiosis with the rivers that dissect it and its mountainous natural environment inspired key aspects of our city as garden model, as do the myriad instances of urban farming in the most dense central hubs of the city. We use Strategy A, seen here in this table, from our research methodology to get a sense of how current large language models would describe the potential contribution AI could make to helping urban planners respond to design challenges. For this task, we engineered prompting based on our speculative narrative and our ideas about new modalities of urban analytics congruent with third nature. The prompting was accompanied with the additional query, can AI help with this process? And if so, how? Aside from our own inclusion noting a likely reduction of working hours, This table represents the list of augmented urban management processes generated by ChatGPT. We critically reviewed the responses, accounting for the hallucinations generated in large language models. No hallucinations were identified, and the ideas and processes generated reflect Arugi's framing of AI as a potential constituent of the city. Our first case study is the MetaPlace project, which provides a novel, user-friendly and reproducible approach to participatory engagement between city stakeholders and citizens for better planning, livability and placemaking. The prototype application enables urban planners, local governments and other city stakeholders to capture feedback, insights and sentiment via public crowdsourced data. Users access the app via their personal device and a unique QR code. They're presented with a series of questions in simple, colourful, easy-to-use formats. Their responses are aggregated with those of other respondents and visualised. The app can present questions in multiple languages. Data visualizations can be presented as feedback to the user on their device or be presented as data visualizations on a larger public screen, thereby providing instant feedback to the user and tangible qualitative data to city stakeholders. This table represents the thematic analysis from Claude against the four conceptual spheres in our conceptual framework: the ecological, the productive, the pleasurable, and the philosophical. Similarly, this is the thematic analysis mapping the codified characteristics of each of the key themes in this speculative research: the city as garden, third nature, the pluriversal city, more than human design, and AI as a collaborative partner in city design. The second case study is a project carried out by Precinct architects in 9th Street, Chongqing, or Ji Street. It's a project that represents a vision for this particular urban thoroughfare inspired by its history and traditions in the local community around weaving. Similarly, this is the thematic analysis of those four components of the conceptual framework: the ecological, the productive, the pleasurable, and philosophical, as they relate to this particular project. Again, using the AI Claude. The thematic analysis presented in a similar way, where the AI is analysing the information given to it about the project and producing a map or a mapping of the project in terms of its correspondence or not to the city as garden, third nature, the pluriversal city, more than human design, and AI as a collaborative partner in city design. As we conceptualize, visualize, evaluate, and prototype desirable urban future ecosystems within third nature, we argue that we're compelled to confront fundamental inquiries concerning the quintessential purpose of cities and design itself. Drawing inspiration from the profound Chinese philosophical tradition, our speculative narrative reflexively rethinks dominant Western modes of body and city as machine, not merely as a functional agglomeration of buildings and infrastructure, but rather as a garden of alternative spaces, fostering inclusive, multi-species connection, sustenance, entertainment, and contemplation. If we were to provide a conclusion to this open-ended narrative, it would be to maintain speculative design research, social dreaming, and narrative methods are a crucial platform for prototyping urban futures. They allow us to anticipate oncoming challenges and opportunities. Framing urban AI as co-creator shows promise for developing design processes that can enhance the participatory and adaptive capacities of designers, enabling more responsive and intelligent city making. Our themes of city as garden, third nature, the pluriversal city, more than human design, and AI as collaborative partner in city design coalesce to form a comprehensive, cohesive, and future-orientated urban vision. This vision prioritizes the well-being of all inhabitants, human and non-human alike, while fostering diversity, sustainability, and resilience. Thanks for your attention.